Hi everyone, welcome to the Freedom Legacy Group interview. And today we've got the wonderful Rachael Wall with me, who is a PSYCH-K Facilitator. I've got to get that right because I got told off for calling her something a little bit different the other day. So Rachael is a PSYCH-K Facilitator, and the reason we're having this chat today is because we met, didn't we? On a networking event.
We did,
and yeah. I was curious. We ended up having a one-to-one session, and it was incredible. Actually, I've done a lot of personal growth, and a lot of different types of coaching and so on, and thought I'd kind of experienced and seen most of it. But there's still always stuff to discover, and yeah, Rachael managed to pull some really deep down subconscious issues to the forefront, and the results I'm still experiencing now. So Rachael, welcome to the Freedom Legacy Group, and lovely to have you here. How did you get started with PSYCH-K? Because not many people have heard of it, have they?
No, it's lesser known. It's actually, PSYCH-K has been around for over 30 years, but it's originated over in America. And certainly over here in the UK, then it's quite rarely known, really. So it'd be fantastic if it was more commonplace, and these things will happen with time. But for me, I came across PSYCH-K. I mean, like, just to go into my background very quickly. So I initially trained as a McTimoney chiropractor in my early 20s. I'd come from a very medical model background. You go to the doctor knows what's best. You take your pills and you get better. And so that's how my upbringing had been. And then I trained as a McTimoney chiropractor. And during my training there, because I was around people that were in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and I was in my early 20s. And so my mind was woken up to the fact that the mind and the body are so interlinked, and just how really your health or your destiny isn't concrete. It can change, and it's the environment around you that can change that, and a big part of that being the mindset. So I read a lot of books. Everyone was talking about molecules of motion at that time, so I read that and was just blown away by it. And then so over the years, I've done a lot of continuing, self-interest and personal development. I've come to realize that personal development and health development, spiritual development, it's all the same thing. And then I read this book called The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton.
Beautiful book.
Oh, amazing, absolutely amazing. It's a sense to be called incredible book. And within that, Bruce Lipton talks about PSYCH-K. So I was really interested because he talks about how PSYCH-K, it's very rapid change, that because your subconscious mind is always in the here and now. It doesn't matter whether something was 20 years ago or yesterday. It's here and now as far as the subconscious mind is concerned, but also can be changed. So I read about it. I thought it was interesting. And then, as it happens, synchronicity, I'd met up with a couple of friends, and one of our friends said, let's in the next year, let's all write down 3 things that we've always wanted to do and we've never done. And we put it up on Post-it notes on the wall. And she said, and we'll vote on each other's things, and we'll do the one that gets the most votes. We'll do one for each of us. So it wasn't me that wrote this down. It was one of my friends. She wrote down, do the PSYCH-K course. And I was going, oh my God, I'd read Biology of Belief. I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. So thankfully, we all voted on that one. And so that was it, really. It was the start of the journey with PSYCH-K. But for me, like, the changes were instant on the course. I remember after the course, I felt like I'd been to a parallel universe and come back just as to what the possibilities are. But even just after the first course, I'd gone from like a constant mind chatter, just all the time, just non-stop, to just a really calm mind. But there's just been so much more that's gone on from that. And so I did all of the PSYCH-K courses and did the health and wellbeing course. And here we are today. So
wow. I mean, I'm privileged to have actually been at a Bruce Lipton seminar a few years ago, and it blew my mind what he was saying. And it's so easy to forget, isn't it? And I think the important thing is that so much of this information is still not available to people. So, how does Psych-K really make or help people make those shifts? So what are we dealing with?
What are we dealing with? That's an interesting question. Yeah. But as far as, yeah, go on.
So, are we dealing with unconscious thoughts, beliefs? Are we dealing with trauma? Are we dealing with, you talked about personal development. So we're dealing with stuff that you have to do. Just give us a little bit of sort of where's Psych-K taking people, and how does that help them with their change or their progress?
So as far as the what, I mean, it's all of the above to the things that you mentioned. Essentially with Psych-K, if you've got something in your life that you want to change, then it's a case of during a Psych-K session, we would discuss how things are for you right now, but then importantly, how you want things to be. And that's the really important thing. I mean, for you are working at a subconscious level and a spiritual level, because within Psych-K, where kind of the thing that I really love with it is, and it's why the terminology is really important. So within Psych-K, I'm a facilitator, because Psych-K is what's known as it's a do with process. So using my background as a chiropractor as an example, so within chiropractic, you would come in as the patient, you would describe what your symptoms are, how it's affecting you, how long it's been going on for, and so on. And then using my conscious knowledge that I had learned on my training and my continuing professional development, I would then decide on the assessment that I felt needed to happen, to then decide what I felt the diagnosis was, and then do the appropriate treatment. So that's very much, it's coming from me and my knowledge and my understanding of you or of your symptoms. However, with Psych-K, it's a case of I'm there to provide the safe space for you to be able to talk and be comfortable sharing. You don't have to share everything, but if you want to, it's at creating that safe space to then be able to bring out your wisdom. So there was something you mentioned in the instruction. It's actually it's your wisdom that always comes out and comes to the fore, and my role is to help that to happen. And within Psych-K, you always work with what is in your best and highest interests at that moment in time, because there's one thing to have wants, but then what's important are your needs. So you as far as with Psych-K, you can always make that positive change, but what that is might not be what you think it is at the beginning of a session.
Yeah.
And so as an example, like money can be a big thing, that you can want more money, but what is it that you feel that money is going to give you? Whereas your needs are perhaps happiness or security or, freedom. So you can think you're working on one thing, and on a personal development or doing positive affirmations, you're working on that, but what's underpinning it is what would come out within a Psych-K session. That answered the question.
Yeah, and the whole facilitator bit. So you basically are facilitating the release of people's inner wisdom, whereas chiropractic is on, you're actually fixing the symptom. Whereas what we're looking at with Psych-K is getting to the cause, getting to the root cause of what's causing the resistance and the issues and the blocks, basically.
It is, yeah, and it's coming from that the subconscious knowledge and your superconscious, your higher self, your higher intelligence. And so your higher intelligence knows what is best for you. So in many ways, I suppose in many ways acting as the interpreter to be able to help to bring that to the surface. And in Psych-K, we use the term sumatak, which means the holder of that wisdom and the sacred space. So it's a do with process. This is okay. What is the best for you, and let's find that out what that is, and let's make the change that's right for you.
I love that, the interpreter. It just reminds me of something that I went through beginning of last year. I was working with a spiritual mentor, and I was still feeling stuck around money.
Mm-hmm.
And what you just said just now, it's not that you need more money. There was something else that was getting in the way.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was peace.
Yeah.
I didn't have inner peace. And when I brought that up to the rest of the picture just started to change shape. The puzzle started to make more sense and started to fit together kind of on its own.
Yes, yeah.
And it was such a revelation, because I think a lot of people, they get fixed on that thing, don't they? And the more they fix on it, the more resistance there is. And actually, if we're prepared to dig below the surface, we actually find something completely different that's causing that to be such an issue.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about what you're just saying, is that actually it's not dealing with the symptoms. It's actually getting right down to the subconscious cause and maybe even the higher self relationship that's not functioning or is not in alignment.
No, definitely. And because, it's that kind of the do with, or the bringing the wisdom to the fore, is it's not for me to decide what's best for you, what's right for you, what I perceive your thoughts to be. You're the only person that knows that, and it's your subconscious mind knows what's stored there. Let's just access it and unravel it. Yeah.
It's that classic where you've almost got to work into the pain point. And I think what happens a lot of the time, and I can experience this, is you go talk to people about money mindset, or I don't know, it might be a relationship issue, and it actually is nothing to do with that. That is the symptom of what actually is a much more deep-rooted fundamental cause. And I think so often we go, all right, I'm going to go and get my money mindset straight, or I'm going to go and sort this thing. But actually, the answers that we're looking for are all stored deep within us. And it's actually being able to access that wisdom, that knowledge, and go, oh, okay, that's where it comes from. And I think that's something we still, as a species, it's getting better, but there's still more information and knowledge to come out about that. Sorry, you're going to say something?
No, I was just going to say, because I'm not sure if people are aware or not, but you have your conscious mind. It's analytical. It's comparing, one thing with another. It's judging, often criticizing. And then you have your subconscious mind, which is holding all of your beliefs, your experiences, your kind of automatic reactions to things, your habits. So you can consciously know something, and you can consciously know that things should be another way or could be another way. But unless your subconscious mind is holding, for example, that belief, then it's never going to materialize. And that's when you get you do positive affirmations, but you feel like they haven't worked, or things improve for a bit, but you always come back to how things were, because what your subconscious mind believes to be true is, without question, always how your life is going to play out. And a lot of that comes from when you're born and in your early years, and it's why childhood is so impactful in your life, is your brainwaves are in a hypnotic state throughout, like 24/7. So everything that you're experiencing at that time in your life is being recorded straight into your subconscious mind. And as these are the rules that you live life by, these are the beliefs, these are the experiences, or this is what happens in these situations. So as we get older, we learn consciously that things aren't necessarily that way. And if you think how life has changed, even just within your own generation, how beliefs that maybe were held in the past aren't now. But I've just gone off on track of myself. So you can consciously know something. However, how your life is playing out is what your subconscious mind believes. And it's so much more powerful than our conscious mind. It's working. I think that our subconscious mind, because it's the reason why we can breathe, talk, heart's beating, hormones are going around our body. That's all happening without having to think about it. Your subconscious mind processes, I think, something like 20,000 or 200,000 bits of information a second. and your conscious mind is 40. It's massive.
Wow.
So much is going on, you don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
So
it's like the sea.
Yes.
That's where life is, but actually it's all coming from deep down.
It's a bit like that analogy of an iceberg.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's also, in my experience, is why there was so much frustration, because the more personal development I did, it was kind of do this. It should be, like that. So you try harder and harder. But actually what you're doing is you're driving a wedge between the conscious and the subconscious in many respects, because that frustration, because you're not actually working at the right level.
Yes,
and that penny dropped sort of a few years into the change, because what I was going to say at the start, that whole thing, when you were in your 20s and you thought this is the way it is, and that was me, I'm like this, and this is the way life is, and this is how I think. And only until sort of 6-7 years ago, and I think a lot of people just believe that's the way they are. This is the way life is going to be, and I just got to do the best I can. And what I think is so amazing, what you do is that you can literally wipe the slate clean and almost like press the reset button really rapidly.
Yeah. And that's it. And it's like you say, with how life should be, that's often come from somebody else's belief system when you're growing up, and that being taught. And then, like you say, you take that on as this is absolute fact, and that's it. And your subconscious mind, all it ever wants to be is right.
Yes.
It's like it's the most stubborn person you've ever met. I'm right. So you can think, this isn't how I want my life to be. Well, it's the way it is going to be, from a subconscious mind point of view. So it's that outdated belief systems or thoughts or things that you've observed and think, hang on, that could be better. Yet, like you say, you can change that and then reset and then move forwards in the way that you would like to, because your subconscious mind doesn't care if it's happy, if you're happy, doesn't care if you're healthy, doesn't care if you're fulfilling your dreams, it just wants to be right. That's it, definitely.
So you got to so the analogy I've got coming up is that you got to wipe the hard drive and reprogram it with what you want, or what you really are aspiring to, or how you want things to be. And I think a lot of people struggle with that idea that it can be achieved.
Yeah, because the perception is it has to be difficult, or it can't be changed, or it has to be long-winded. And that's the beauty of Psych-K, is it doesn't need to be in any of those things. Because your subconscious mind is always in the here and now. There's no age to a memory. You might consciously know that a memory is 30 years old, but as far as your subconscious mind is concerned, it's just here and it's now. That's it. But that's the beauty and the power of the Psych-K process, is they did some research on it, and so the kind of the processes that we use bring you into what's known as a whole brain state. So when both hemispheres of your brain are working together and in unison, it lowers that subconscious resistance. And within the research, they found that with 98% of people, you could move into this whole brain state with the processes that we use within 10 minutes. 98% of people. It's huge. And so that acknowledging or accepting that it can be easy when you allow the wisdom to come out. And that's the important bit, isn't it? Or the important element, or the powerful element I find within Psych-K, is that you have the wisdom, your mind has the wisdom. Let's through muscle testing, if you're in person or using a pendulum online, let's find out what that is. Let's find out what your answers are. So, and let's do it.
Because I'll be very, very honest with you. Before we met online and had a session, there was a part of my mind was going, this is not going to be rapid. There's got to be something that has to be ongoing and so on. And I was really, really very pleasantly surprised at how quickly some of those changes came about. and the kind of in some cases, just that the messaging that you tested on changed within a few minutes.
That's it. Yeah.
And that really, and the resistance wasn't, it was kind of just part of I realize now is my programming, my conditioning. You know, you got a habit takes 21 days, 36 days. I've taught that, you know, to people. Change a habit, you know, you got to put in a consistent daily application and work and all that sort of stuff. And I spent years and years working so hard at trying to change me. And only in the last sort of, I don't know, a year and a half, realize that there are these amazing techniques that can literally change things very, very rapidly. And I was going, God, I wish I'd come across that before. Hence why we're talking to you, because I want this information out to other people, because we all deserve to live a life of freedom.
100%.
You know, emotional freedom, mental freedom, relationships, money, all of that sort of stuff. And I really believe that if people are committed to opening up and engaging, then that's really, really possible. I've got a quick question for you. And I've been meaning to ask you this right at the very beginning. Psych-K, why is it called Psych-K? Is there, I don't know, maybe you've probably been asked this before, but can you just tell us a little bit about the name of it? And what
no, definitely. It's a fabulous question, because there's a lot of misconception, and what I thought it meant at the beginning to what it means is different. So so it's psych, PSYCH, and it's an ancient spelling of the word psyche, but with the E on the end. And really it's just meaning our body and our mind. So I don't mean, sorry, mind and our soul. So it's that non-physical part of us. So so ignore the fact that I just said body. So it's mind and our soul. So it's our, like I said, our higher wisdom, our higher intelligence. And then the K just stands for the key to change. So just that the process is the key to long-lasting change.
Fascinating.
I
was going, is it kinesiology?
That's what I thought it was.
Kinetics. Something. I was trying to second guess what you were going to say.
And that's it, because the K is there, and if you're working with somebody in person, you use kinesiology testing. Then to me, I was, it must be kinesiology. Then it's the key to long-lasting change. It's the key to changing our perceptions and making those changes happen, or helping them to happen.
Fascinating. Because key. What is the key? Everybody's trying to find the missing piece, isn't it? The key. And now I've talked about that and looked for that myself. So carry on.
I was going to say, does it help to explain kinesiology testing, how that works, to put some context?
Yes, that'd be great. I was going to come on to that just a bit later, but let's dive into that now. So are you talking about how you test what's going on for people, or what's going on deep down?
Or how kinesiology testing works, in that essentially, so if you're working with somebody in person, you might use their arm like this. So you then would place your fingers on top of the arm, and then you say, be strong. And when something is 100% true to you, there's no stress around it, it's absolute fact, your muscle stays strong. So if I said my name is Rachel, I would say strong. And then if I said my name is Finn, I would go weak, because that's a lie, my name's not Finn. And so if something is false, or there's stress around it, it causes a temporary misfiring within the brain, within the subconscious, and then that causes a temporary weakening of the muscle. So as I was saying earlier, where you can consciously think you think something, but that change isn't happening, you just ask. So you would say the statement out loud, and then you find out the answer. So it's like your own personal little lie detector.
There is no denying the truth.
No, exactly. The subconscious mind always tells the truth. So that's essentially why the muscle testing, and how then you can access the answers that are held within your subconscious mind, as like you were saying earlier with the computer analogy, they're the files that are being held right now. And then to know is then within that, because as I mentioned, we use permission protocols. So you ask, is this in your best and highest interest to work with right now? And is it safe and appropriate to be changing this right now? Because again, that comes back to wants and needs. you might want something to be a certain way, but that might not be what you need as a person for your own growth. Yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting to get that understanding, because for me that eliminates the doubt and you know, is this going to work? Because really what we're talking about is, you know, obviously people got to be prepared to, you know, accept it. We talk about people's truth a lot, don't we? Live your truth. What is the truth? And from my perspective, that's the source of the power, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you access the truth, and then boom, away you go.
Yeah, definitely.
And here's a way of finding out what it is.
Yes.
A lot of people kind of, you know, second go, oh, I don't know, you know, that was, you know, I think we can all sort of attest to that kind of, there's something wrong, but I don't know what it is. And that frustration and banging is that battle between the subconscious and the conscious mind, and our kind of rational mind logical mind trying to say what should be happening and what's trying to make things fit, and actually deep down
that's it,
we're way off course.
and that is the bit that I absolutely love about the whole process. I mean, any session I have no idea what's going to happen, but it is that, like you say, you don't need to know what the reason is or the why. All you need to know is how you want things to be, and as long as you know how you want things to be, we can find out the rest. So yeah, this
is how your dreams can come true, because you know, dreams, I find this really fascinating, because you know, at a certain age people just stop dreaming, don't they? A lot of people, they just go, it's just not going to happen. It's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
And you know, here's a way to get reacquainted with them, because I would say the lying mind, the conscious mind, is a lying mind. It doesn't really want to help you get to the truth. So come and have a psych-K session with Rachel and get to the truth, and then you can rewrite the dreams and the visions that you used to have as a child.
Definitely. And you know, because again, that's so much, it's social conditioning, isn't it? This is how you have to live your life, and if that's not serving you and helping you to feel aligned to what you would like, then if you're, like, say, open to it and you're ready, then the change can be there. And so often within the sessions, that when the things come up, because you know, sometimes I can speak to somebody and well, it's really obvious it's because of this, and then when we work together, it's not that at all, or there was an element of that but it wasn't quite. But that when you then look back and you go, oh my God, you know, I thought it was all of these things, but actually we worked on, you know, maybe that's, you think it's 5 factors and we just worked on 2, but those 2 were the ones that had the ripple effect. And then when you look back with hindsight, you go, oh my God, that really does make complete, I can see that now, but you would never have got there with it, trying to analyze it and pick it apart.
And 100%, because I can attest to that, you know, because that's what happened to me. I thought we're going to talk about these sort of things, and what came up, I was just, and then it made so much sense when you did say, actually, it's to do with X, Y, and Z, and it felt so right. I didn't just go cognitively, logically, that meant it was a feeling. It was a visceral, whole mind, body, soul feeling. Go, this is where the resistance is. This is the source of it, and it really helped with that acceptance and seeing that. And then suddenly, I was able to move on to the next stage, which was really powerful and really liberating. And I would say that, and one of the reasons I want to speak to you is because, you know, I'm all about people trying to experience freedom in whatever aspect of life they want, and we all deserve freedom in all its forms. And I just want to say that this is a process that can bring about greater freedom in emotions and thinking and all sorts of areas, and financially as well. Before we finish, Rachel, are you allowed to share any sort of breakthroughs that people have had. Don't know names and so on, but if people are sitting here going, yeah, I feel really bad about my health. It might be, they've had children and they just haven't been able to recover that sort of level of fitness or athleticism, or it might be a money story, or it might be a confidence thing. Can you just one or two kind of examples where people have come to you with issues and then boom, the results they've had? Or are you not allowed to share? You don't have to give names and so on, just to give people an insight. You go, okay, so a little bit of variety in terms of the people that you've helped and continue to help.
Yes, I can talk about the types of things I've helped with. Yeah.
Perfect.
So because sometimes the reason why somebody comes to see me, that ends up being more to it, and actually getting more benefits than you realized as well. So, for example, sometimes I've worked with people where they, and that's where it comes into that things don't have to take years, but maybe they've seen counselors or psychotherapists for many years, and then identified what needs to change, but not being able to get there. So for some people, that might have been traumas or incidents that have happened in the past, childhood or more recently. And the important thing to mention there on trauma is that during a session, you won't have to relive it and talk it over. You'll need to think about it, but then the emotions or the negative emotions with it will subside within a few minutes, and then you just move beyond that. So there's been certain traumatic incidents that I've helped people to move beyond and then be able to see life in a new way after that. But then it's also had a knock-on health benefits. So their chronic IBS has resolved, neck pain has resolved, back pain has resolved. There's been kind of chronic fatigue, and that those things have the two of them were interconnected. Yeah. And so you can't say that will always be the case, but there's certainly been examples of that when I've worked with people. Otherwise, it has been a lot about just wanting to stop repeating patterns, or ending up in relationships, always the wrong type of person. And then just being able to kind of move beyond why that is, and being able to strengthen your confidence and self-esteem to be able to move forwards. And it's also helped me a lot as well. Like, I used to big time have imposter syndrome. It's like, I'm a chiropractor, how did that happen? I'm going to be found out, and also just to, like, as you were saying earlier, that seeing beyond how you feel that the expectations of life are, and then being able to see and live a better truth. And then just the last one to mention really is where there's a lot of kind of anger or frustration in life, again, can really help a lot, just as far as what's underpinning that, to transform, because you're not reacting or responding to life in the same way.
Get to the root cause, and then everything else starts to change. And how many sessions would people need with you, and how long is sort of a session?
So this session is split into a couple of little sessions. So the first time that we would meet, so like I say, I work purely online, then we would talk about how things are, what's happening, what you want to work with, and then how you would like things to be. And then I can answer any questions about Psych-K and describe the next session.
Process,
because there's different ways that you can approach the session, and it's always led by you. And so it could be that we work on specific belief statements or ways that you want to think. It can be about removing the perception of stress, whether that's the past, present, or the future. And actually, that's another one. Actually, is just I'll be quick. With the perception of stress, that it can be the future. And I just somebody that I work with, where they were really worried about a meeting that they were going to have with a boss because of the way that this boss historically responded. So we did this process. And they said afterwards, they just couldn't believe how it was, because they were able to go into the meeting, stay really calm, be able to state their case because there wasn't that stress there anymore. They were able to think in that whole brain way and just be able to say what they were and not respond to them, that then their boss responded in a completely different way. So
Wow.
when you change and what you give out changes, what comes back changes. Yeah. So yeah, that's just sprung to mind.
such a great reminder of that. Yeah.
Definitely. And then there's messages. So you can, if like you were saying earlier, you know what you want to be different, you don't know what the answers are, or would like to find out what those deeper answers are, then we ask, is it something conscious, subconscious, and then work down from there. So that's the first session. So that's between half an hour and 40 minutes. Then at a separate time, we then schedule the actual session itself, because that time in between when we've initially spoken about things, because often it's the first time you've really verbalized everything out loud. Yeah. And what can happen there is that new realizations can pop up here, or new things you think, oh my gosh, yeah, I want to change that. So then at the next session, we will then check in, see how things have been. So that could be literally just the next day, or it could be longer. Again, you'll be up to you as to how long you'd want to leave the space between the two sessions. And then so the second session then is about an hour to an hour and a quarter. We work through all of the whatever comes up for you in that session. And then at the end, and this is really important, it's as important as the session itself, is you will then say which action steps that you're going to put in place to help everything that we've worked on, bring that into your reality and your everyday life experience. And so there'll be the action steps always really doable and achievable. And it's about making that first step towards whatever your goal is. It's not something really big, you know, that you're not going to be able to stick to. So you commit to those action steps at the end of the session. And then you decide if you'd like me to send you a text message, drop you an email, have a quick Zoom call at a predetermined time period, just to see how you're doing as far as keeping up with those action steps, and also the changes that you felt afterwards. So how many sessions you might need is very different. So for some people it's one session, for others it can be 2 or 3, but working on one thing, it can be just the one session. But
fantastic.
Again, it depends how many things you need to work on. Really, it's in the single figures.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. I could honestly sit here for the next hour and talk about how the mind works, because I think it's just so fascinating.
Hugely.
And it's just so incredible how powerful it is, and how we are able to change it and heal ourselves, because that's where, you know, but where can people connect with you, Rachael? Obviously we're going to put your links below this video, but if anybody wants to get hold of you straight away, is it website? So I know you've got a business website. If you just let us know what that business website is, and then I'll put your other contacts in there as well. Yeah, sure. So the website is itsallabouthealth.co.uk. Okay. So it's myself and my wife Lorna. We're both PSYCH-K facilitators. But if you can contact us through the contact us page, it will only be one of the two of us that pick those emails up. Otherwise, we're on Facebook and Instagram if you'd rather connect through that route. Cool. Yeah, it's all there. I'll put all those details below this video. Yeah, perfect. And fantastic. The other thing is that if somebody would just like to have a chat, find out more, you know, with their individual circumstances, we do offer like a 30-minute complimentary call. So you can actually literally just book that through the website. You'll have the Zoom link and we'll meet and we can discuss. So yeah. Go and book that call, folks, because it will definitely make a massive difference to you. And it's great. I can just highly recommend working with Rachael. And obviously Lorna as well, but I haven't met Lorna yet. Yeah, but thank you so much, Rachael. We're 45 minutes. Oh wow, that's whizzed by. Yeah. Yeah. And we were going, oh, I don't know, this, you know. So there was such a great conversation. Thanks for sharing all your knowledge, and I'm sure there's so much more. And hopefully we can get you back on in a few months. And what would you say to, you know, having another chat with a few other people in, I don't know, 2-3 months' time? and just sort of riffing some ideas and so on. That'd be fantastic. So much more to come. Brilliant. Thanks so much, Rachel. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you ever so much. It's been a pleasure.
See you all, folks. To the next time. Bye for now.